In a peaceful corner of a quiet countryside, there was a tiny settlement where time moved slowly and people lived simple lives. At the far end of this village, near an old fig tree with thick roots twisting like ropes, stayed a gentle, elderly woman. Her hair shimmered like moonlight, and deep lines traced her face like a storybook of her years. Despite her age, her eyes always sparkled with a kindness that felt like sunshine on a cold morning. Everyone in the area held her close to their hearts. No matter how tough life got, she always carried a peaceful smile, like nothing could shake her. Her cottage, made of mud bricks and painted with faded colors, stood quietly beneath the spreading branches of the fig tree. It had been her home for many seasons, ever since her husband passed away. She had no children or relatives nearby, but you'd never hear a word of sorrow from her lips. Each morning, as the sky turned golden, she would settle herself under the fig tree, watching people walk by. She'd greet them with a soft nod or a cheerful word. The villagers found comfort in her presence. It was like standing near a warm fire during a cold wind. Whether they were young or old, people often paused to talk to her. Somehow, her words always made their burdens feel a little lighter.
In this village, folks worked hard every single day. Some spent long hours tending to their rice fields, their feet sunk into the muddy earth. Others shaped wood into chairs and shelves in small workshops that smelled of sawdust. And at the local street stalls, traders called out the names of fruits and grains, hoping for a good sale. But life was rarely smooth. Some years the skies held back the rain, and the earth cracked under the sun. At other times, illness crept into homes, leaving people too weak to work. Many carried hidden worries. Yet, through it all, the old woman's calm never wavered. Her presence became a kind of hope for the village. One cloudy afternoon, a young mother named Mira came rushing through the narrow paths, her face wet with tears. She arrived at the fig tree where the old woman sat weaving a basket. Mira fell to her knees, her voice breaking. "Grandma, I'm lost," she said, choking back sobs. "My husband went to the city months ago looking for work. He promised to send money, but nothing has come. The children are starving. I don't know how much longer I can wait. What if he's never coming back?" The elderly woman paused her weaving and looked into Mira's eyes with a calm that felt like still water. She gently placed the basket aside and patted the spot next to her on the dusty ground. "Come here, dear. Sit for a moment. Breathe. Tell me, what does your heart truly believe?" Mira sniffled and wiped her face with her scarf as she sat beside the old woman, unsure what to say.
She pulled the corner of her scarf over her face, wiping the last of her tears. "I don't know any more, Grandma," Mira whispered, her voice soft and shaken. "Everything seems to be falling apart. What if my husband never finds a job? What if he forgets us? What if my children sleep hungry again tonight?" The elderly woman didn't rush to speak. She simply looked up at the sky for a moment, then slowly turned to Mira with a gentle shake of her head. "My child," she said softly, "our minds are like gardens. If we let weeds of worry grow wild, they take over everything. But if we plant hopeful thoughts, flowers bloom, and even a dark day feels a little brighter." Mira frowned slightly, unsure. "But how do I think like that? When nothing around me feels good, how do I find anything to smile about?" The old woman chuckled quietly, her eyes crinkling with warmth. "Let me share something with you. Long ago, there was a young man who had lost everything. He wandered through the town with torn clothes and an empty stomach. He sat near a stream one day, his head in his hands, crying like the world had ended." She paused, glancing at Mira, who now sat still, listening closely.
An elderly woman passed by, much older than even me, the storyteller continued with a grin. She saw him crying and asked, "Why do your eyes hold so much sorrow, young one?" The man replied, "I have no roof, no family, and not a single coin. How can I be anything but miserable?" The old woman smiled, not with pity, but with understanding. "You still have more than you realize," she told him. "You have clean water from the stream to drink, trees to rest under, birds to sing you songs, a sky to look up to. You're still breathing. That means you have time to begin again." Mira tilted her head. "But that doesn't change his hunger, does it?" "No," the old woman admitted. But that shift in his thoughts changed how he faced the day. Instead of drowning in sadness, he started noticing small blessings. He gathered firewood to trade, picked fruits from the forest, helped elders in exchange for meals. Slowly, things turned, not because of magic, because he chose not to give up. Mira blinked, considering the story. The old woman gently took her hand and added, "We don't always get to change the world around us, but we do choose how we carry the weight. If your heart fills only with fear, you'll feel trapped. But if you leave even a small space for hope, you'll find the strength to keep going." Mira looked at the ground, then at the fig tree above her, its leaves rustling in the soft wind. "Do you really think the way I think can make a difference?" she asked, her voice quiet but curious. The old woman leaned back with a knowing smile. "Sometimes it's the only thing that ever has." The old woman gave Mira's hand a gentle squeeze and nodded, her voice calm and steady. "Yes, my dear," she said, "if you wake up each day and tell yourself, 'Today will be a good one,' you'll find a strength inside you that you didn't know was there. That strength will help you feed your children, manage your home, and face whatever life sends your way. But if you keep expecting things to go wrong, your heart will feel heavy, and your hands may not have the energy to do even the smallest tasks." Mira took a deep breath. She wiped her eyes again, but this time her face was different, not just tired, but thoughtful. "I think I understand now, Grandma," she said softly. "I'll try. From now on, I'll try to think of something good, even if it's just a little thing." The old woman's face lit up with a warm smile, the kind that could melt away the chill of a bad day. "That's where it begins. The first small light is all it takes to push back the darkness." And from that morning on, Mira did just that. She whispered to herself each day, "Today is going to be all right." She woke early to gather firewood, made simple meals for her children, and kept herself busy with whatever she could find. Though the weight of her husband's absence remained, her heart no longer drowned in fear. Weeks passed, and one bright afternoon, a neighbor rushed into Mira's courtyard waving a brown envelope. It was a letter. Finally! Her hands trembled as she opened it. Inside was a note from her husband. He had found work in a garment factory in the city. The letter also held a small bundle of cash. Mira stared at it, her eyes wide with disbelief, then flooded with tears. Only this time,
They were tears of joy. She didn't wait. She ran barefoot through the narrow paths, past the banyan tree, all the way to the old woman's home. The elderly lady was sipping warm tea by the steps. Mira dropped to her knees and shared the news, unable to stop smiling. The old woman chuckled gently, not surprised at all. "You see, child," she said, her eyes twinkling, "when we fill our hearts with light, life finds a way to shine back at us. The storm doesn't always go away, but hope gives us shelter." And soon the whole village began to notice a change, not just in Mira, but in themselves. Word spread about the old woman's simple wisdom. More and more villagers came, young and old, some with worries, others with questions. She welcomed them all the same, under the wide branches of the fig tree. To every single one, she repeated her favorite message: "Keep your thoughts kind, and good things will find you." People started whispering those words to themselves before going to bed, and again as they opened their eyes in the morning.
The village itself started to glow in a way it hadn't before. Not because life had become easy, but because people had started believing they could handle whatever came. Smiles returned. Laughter echoed more often. Worries still knocked at doors, but they didn't stay long. The old woman never claimed to be a healer or a saint. She only taught one quiet truth, that our thoughts carry power, more than we know. When we choose to see what's good, when we focus on hope instead of fear, we uncover courage we didn't realize we had. And even in life's hardest moments, a hopeful heart is a strong heart. That truth, once learned, never leaves you. No matter how difficult life gets or how dark the days feel, anyone can bring light into their world by holding on to hope and being thankful for the little things. When we choose to fill our minds with kind and positive thoughts, we begin to see new paths we didn't notice before. A peaceful heart is born from this mindset, and that peace doesn't just stay with us, it spreads to others around us. Hope is like a candle. When one person lights theirs, it helps others find their way too.